Hello, good evening, everyone. Hope you are doing great. This is Mimi here from PMI South Sub-Saharan Africa region. I would like to confirm whether you can hear me clearly. If my voice is clear and you can hear me, please drop a message or let me have a thumb up to confirm. So welcome, everyone. Happy to have you here again. Thanks for confirming that you can hear me clearly. So our instructor of the day is connecting, having a little challenge. But while waiting for him, we are not going to break our rules. We would like to know where you are connecting from. Let us know where you are connecting from which part of the world are you connecting from. It will be a pleasure for us to acknowledge you. Yeah. So let us know where you are connecting from. Kindly drop your flag, kindly drop your city, the country where you are connecting from, and we will just welcome you. Let it come, let it come. Yeah, hello, Leko from South Africa. It's good to have the first comment from South Africa because South Africa is going to host us very soon for the Global Summit Africa in Cape Town. So, Leko, I hope I'll meet you there. Hello from Abuja, Nigeria. Hey, we have someone from San Francisco Bay. David, welcome. Hey, we have Tobias from Germany. Hello, Rogers from Kenya. Again, Tuli from South Africa. Humphrey for Kampala, Uganda. That's awesome. Hello, Temi Kiloshele from Lagos. Hey, Hamed from Somalia. Nice to have you. Arnaud, my friend, mon frère Arnaud du Burundi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Mungala from Kenya. Yes, Corneille Bilolo from Montréal. Bonjour, bonjour Corneille. J'espère que ça va bien. Montréal, je crois c'est l'après-midi là-bas. All right. Osumana Sissé du Québec, Canada. Bonsoir. Richard from New York. Jali from South Africa. It's so good. It's so good. It's awesome to have you. And we are so grateful to have you. Thanks for always finding time to connect. We want to give some few minutes for others to join so that they won't miss anything. Just some few minutes. We also want to honor your punctuality. Also, the time for our instructor to connect and set up. So we are still welcoming Sam from New York, Tintu from Joburg, Marcus from Lagos, Beatrice from Uganda. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. So let it come. Let it come. Let us know where you are connecting from. And also, if for those who have already scheduled their exam, we also want to know when is the D-Day. Not to stress you, but to also pray for you. We never know. Because we are a family, it's good that we also celebrate. So let us know when you've planned to schedule your exam. Hey, someone is writing tomorrow. Tobias. Tobias, please, 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 please. We are waiting for the good news. Oh, don't worry, Temi. The next attempt is going to be the right one. The next attempt is going to be the right one. So, Tobias, we are waiting for the good news. Let us know how it's going to be tomorrow so that we celebrate with you. Yeah. So we have people writing in February, in March. I just want to seize the opportunity to remind you that the exam is changing 1st of July 2026. So it's going to be a new format and also mainly based on the 8th edition. So for all of you here who have already completed the 35 hours and also planning to write, please make sure you schedule it as early as possible so that you'll be the last batch of those getting their exam before that great change. When the exam changes, there is a period where the new candidates will discover the new format and all that. Don't let your efforts just go waste. Please don't be afraid. PMP exam is just a formality as long as you've planned well. As long as you've planned well. So there is a say from Winston Churchill, which says that if you fail in planning, you've planned your failure. So those revision sessions are the best platform for you to plan and also make sure that you are going to pass the exam. So for all those writing this week, we wish you all the best. I can see that David is writing on Thursday. So David, we have another session on Thursday. So please connect to give us the good news when you get your PMP badge. All right, so we'll start shortly. I'm just checking on the instructor so that we will start shortly. Hello,
Hello, good
Mr.
evening.
Eric. Good evening, Mr. Abwaji. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing great by His grace, boss.
I was about to say Etisane.
Oh, good. Maybe I come.
Yes, awesome. So for those who don't understand, it's a greeting from a local language in Ghana. So we are Pan-African. I spent also more than a decade in Accra, though I'm from Cote d'Ivoire and I'm based in Abidjan. So, Mr. Eric, thanks for joining. We are so happy to have you. The audience is ready. But before we start, I would like once again, on behalf of the entire PMI Sub-Saharan Africa team, to say thank you for being available and also share your experience with our dear future candidates. And to all candidates today, we are going to have again our session on ensuring project continuity, knowledge transfer, value delivery, and adapting to change. And our instructor is the expert, Mr. Eric Abwaji, who is going, of course, to introduce himself. I am Mimi Christian, the chapter engagement partner for PMI for the Sub-Saharan Africa region. I'm going to be also with my colleague, Mr. Anthony Munge, who is also going to support. And on this note, I would like to make sure that you are all set. So, Mr. Eric, we can see your screen, perfectly your screen. I don't know whether you can put it on presentation mode to confirm that everything is set, and then we will kick off.
Okay. Can you share it at your end, please?
Okay, but do you have any challenge on your end?
I'm trying to share my screen, but it looks like the
We can see
PPT
your
is not
screen.
appearing.
No, we can see your screen. There, we can see the PPT. Only that
You
is
can
not
see
in
my screen.
presentation.
Okay, that is fine.
Yeah, we can see. Only that is not on presentation mode. So if you can.
Oh, okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay now. And maybe for network stability, you can feel free to switch off your camera as well.
Okay.
So that
All right.
I'm sure it's going to optimize the network connectivity. All right, so your camera is still on.
All right, don't worry. Let me go on because of time.
Sure, all right. So you can proceed.
Okay. So, good evening to all stakeholders on board. I am Eric Abwaji, as my director has already explained and has said, I am a PMP facilitator. And this evening, thank you very much for answering this call. We are going to discuss the nature of exams questions that you will be answering. But I have captioned the whole presentation as effective project leadership in the fast-changing world. Those who have studied the predictive way of doing projects, that was in the PMBOK 1 to 6. As you know, PMBOK 7 has changed the pattern in which the question will be coming. PMBOK 7 is focusing on agile, adaptability, delivering value to the customer. So I have framed some questions you myself will be going through together. Then we will prepare ourselves towards the exam. I normally present with here images, so I'll be using the images to simplify the information. I have a teaser or assertion which says the world has changed and the pace of change has never been this fast, and yet it will never be this slow. In fact, if you have been going through the PMP question, you realize that change has happened. And the pace at which the change is now going, it is never going to be that slow. We are all aware PMBOK 8 is also coming. It tells you the way we used to execute projects some years past, because of dynamism, because of change, because of development. The way we used to do things have changed. The way you, myself, as project practitioners, we used to do has changed. So therefore, we should also amend the way we will tackle the PMP questions. If you are going to the exams room with the predictive nature of answering questions, my dear brother, it won't help. Be thinking of agility. Be thinking of a project manager in which of the domain, in which of the methodologies, in which of the approaches is the question presenting to you. Then you also go alongside. Because if the question comes in way of predictive, you will then be called a project manager. If the way the question is framed in the context of agile, you will be known as the Scrum Master. If you not be called the Scrum Master, they will call you the steward. If you are not called the steward, you will be called the project leader. So when you think of these changes, it's going to do you good in the exams day. Every organization is a living being, as you know, so as its project. But for you, myself, to do very well and answer the question, we should be thinking of this preposition. One says value discipline. Value discipline is on 3 pillars. The first pillar is product leadership. So the book and a lot of questions will be testing your understanding on servant leadership approach. And who is a servant leader? We have studied, we have prepared. A servant leader is the one who will be removing impediment, obstacles off the project way. So if the question is given you and you realize that there is an impediment, there's an obstacle, who needs to then remove it? It is your duty as a project steward, as a scrum master, as the project manager appointed to help the team. How are you going to remove this impediment? You can do this by customer intimacy. You know, it is a principle in the predictive way of doing project that do the project alongside stakeholders. So when you talk of stakeholders here, we are talking about the sponsor, we are talking about the development team, we are talking about end users. That is the predictive nature. But when it comes to the agile environment, we are talking about the Scrum Master, the developers, you may call them architects, you may call them the development team. Then we are also talking about the product owner. But here in Agile, the focus is on working with the product owner alongside, in a sense that he is the final arbiter of all requirements and he needs to give clarity on the requirement. Exceptional excellence is also going to happen in a sense that if the product backlog, which represent the scope in the waterfall, if it's not clear from the beginning, executing exact work become very difficult. So in the traditional project, we will say scope statement. Now, when it comes to the agile environment, they will say backlog items. So you need your backlog item clarity. You need the customer support, that is the intimacy. And you, the project manager or the Scrum Master, you also put on your leadership skill. So the next question is, why do all projects that goes through the project life cycle, some become successful, others don't become successful? It is about the delivery approach. My dear listeners, if you don't read the question right to know which methodology, which environment in context has the question be framed, at times you may select a wrong answer. So be thinking of, am I in agile? Am I in a hybrid? Am I in a waterfall? You should be able to know. Why is it that some project becomes out successfully, others don't come out successfully? The success depends on the team commitment. The success depends on the project manager. The success depends on the product owner commitment. So we need commitment from all the parties. If the project is going to be successful, now in this modern PMP, they are saying if the project is delivered on time, the project is on budget, but value is not attained, PMI says nothing has been done because the new currency they are advocating now is value. So you should be thinking of these 3 dimensions. What is your product leadership? What is your intimacy with the customer? And what will be the operational excellence? You should be thinking of this. The change has happened, and a lot of questions I'm going to discuss with you will center on this picture. Project manager is now finding it very difficult to get the work done. The Scrum Master is finding it very difficult to get the work done because some of your team members may resign unaware. The vendor you are working with will then tell you, issue is going to happen. The project is going to delay 2 weeks. What do we do? So you should be thinking on your feet. You are going to be hit hard by a change. And how do you do? How do you go around it? A team member will not be performing very well. And how do you confront it? Are you going to meet the person directly to get the problem solved, or you are going to escalate it? I'm trying to say know the escalation path. And for you to know the escalation path, you should be able to understand the skill you required. You should get insight about the work. If you can serve very well on these muddy waters, the current PMP exams, if you can do very well, it means you should have insight about the project data. That is the information radiators I'm talking about. When you go to the traditional project, you'll be talking about the end value analysis. What is the status of the project now? Am I progressing? Am I retrogressing? What does the information radiator says? Bend up, bend down chart. You should get insight about that. And you should be able to balance the work. That is the velocity of the team as against the task given. The project manager should be knowledgeable. The Scrum Master should be knowledgeable. The Scrum Master should throw away the ego and you help the team. You know, the information says empower the team. So you need certain skill. You need certain tools to empower your team. Challenges we are going to find on the exams will be your team members are remotely dispersed. If your team members are not found in one country currently, the moderator is in Cote d'Ivoire. I am in Ghana, but we have had a meeting successfully on a platform. And this is what PMI call it the fishbowl window. This is what they call it the collaborative tool. So one thing you should be thinking of is if my team members are remotely dispersed, how can I get a work done in agile environment? You can do it by the help of collaborative tool. Because of technology, you will then be fixing biases, issues in the question. Because of globalization, you need to work within time. So some question will test your understanding on sprint is in session and we are introducing a change. Should we go ahead with the change or should we add it to the backlog item? All these will be scenarios you should prepare yourself towards. If you know how to deal with them, answering the question will not be difficult. Please, can you hear me loud and clear at your end?
We can hear you loud and clear, Mr. Eric.
Sure. So geopolitics is a factor. Technological issues are all factors. Trust me, I have questions I'm going to go through with you. But before I do that, why some projects fail? Think of lack of leadership. If the question gives you opportunity to select servant leadership skill, my dear brothers and sisters, that will be the correct answer. And what is the servant leadership skill? Servant leadership skill, you are on board. You don't give total instructions to the team. You don't take decision for them, but you rather guide them. Lack of communication. A lot of sample questions I have seen that communication and stakeholder go side by side. So if it's about stakeholder who may be complaining about how you disseminate their report, find it out from them, the frequency, the method they may need, the approach they may need, the detail level they may need. These are areas PMP questions normally come, and lack of resources. They will tell you that, oh, a team member might have resigned. How do you adjust the team? In HR, they have come from cross-functional base. So you, the Scrum Master, should be able to meet the team, readjust, let them stay focused so that we can meet the project timeline. A lot of questions will ask you to defer your responsibility to someone else. Please, it may be a wrong answer. Christian this evening tasked me to select questions in line with domain 2, that is process. And with process, you are going to answer about almost 80% of your question will come from process domain. So if your strength is not found in process and people domain, but rather your strength is found in business environment, please reconsider your effort again and solve a lot of questions in process domain. Process domain is going to ensure, in fact, the focus of process domain is 4. My number 1 is you have to focus on knowledge transfer for project continuity. And how are we going to ensure knowledge transfer? It is on 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 says you have to embrace lessons learned and retrospective session. Lessons learned and retrospective session. As soon as a session comes to an end, in agile context, adaptability or adaptive environment, we may call it iteration or a sprint, as you know. As soon as a sprint comes to an end, we need to do retrospective session. But please know what is done in each of the event or ceremonies or rituals. There are 4. We have to do the daily planning. We have to do the sprint planning. Sprint planning is even the first one, sprint planning. Then you go to the daily scrum or daily stand-up. The third one will be the review. Then the fourth one is going to be that of retrospective session. Please, those who come for training and they don't do well in the question, we have found out that they don't know who needs to attend what meeting. If it's the daily scrum, you should know that it is facilitated by the scrum master. If the scrum master wants to relinquish that responsibility, he can do so, but he needs to be there. If the product owner wishes to come, so be it. But we are taking our decision. He will come and just observe. I beg you, find time to go through the events, attendees, and the purposes. So if it's a traditional project, waterfall, predictive project, as soon as a phase also comes to an end, we will be doing retrospective session. The way PMI will put the question will be, a project has come to an end. What will you do to ensure knowledge continuity? To ensure this, we have to then let them gather together, write what was good on the project, what came up as a challenge, opportunities that came our way, successes we have chalked, things we need not to repeat. You should be able to identify all this, then you gather them, either phase by phase, or you are going to do a sprint by sprint. Please remember that until lessons learned have been documented, the project has not formally been closed. So to ensure knowledge continuity, one is gathering of information, lessons learned, then you have to let it go through the company repository. Number 2, you have to foster the culture of learning in the flow of work. Whilst we are learning, some question will give you an opportunity to interspace the sprint with training sessions. You will be seeing them very soon. You have a training member, you have a team member, you have a scrum member who is not up to the task. how are you going to train them within the sprint? Whilst you were doing the sprint planning and you have identified this as a need, you can add it, interspace them within that duration. Whilst we are doing the work, we can train them alongside. So you have to promote and also embrace the culture of learning. So on-the-job training is what I'm trying to talk about. You can also institutionalize before action and after action review. This will also let you know if knowledge has been disseminated, if knowledge has gone down. But the practical PMP questions will be like a team member of yours who was a typical expert, who was a liberal, who was the best candidate of yours, has resigned unaware. What might you have done to save this situation? The moment I realized that Alice, Charles, Eric is the lead who understand the work we are doing, you should be doing pair work, one junior, one senior, so that the juniors will be learning from the seniors. If I wield a particular skill and other team members of mine doesn't have that skill, it is my duty as a Scrum Master, having identified it, encourage the one who is having that skill to train others. So yours is to ensure knowledge and impact of knowledge. The team members have to be on the same page. Some question will say, some team members of yours understand Agile, but not all the methodologies within Agile. You know, when you go to Agile, we have Cresta, we have Kanban, we have others. So if I have a team member who really understands Scrum alone and others don't understand Scrum, it is my duty to cross-train all the members so that they will be aware of the same skill and the same processes so that we will be able to achieve exact goal. So my focus this evening is that I've been asked to walk us through how to ensure knowledge transfer to project continuity. Just for the project to be going on without any issue, we should ensure knowledge transfer. So these are the 4 main ways you can ensure knowledge transfer. I have a question here for us to go through quickly. And question number 1, please a minute, just give me a minute. Thank you. So question number 1. During the sprint planning meeting, a Scrum Master emphasizes the importance of documenting decisions made in the daily Scrum. This primarily supports which of the following? Look at the question carefully. PMP question, the shorter the question, the difficult the question will be. During the sprint planning meeting, a Scrum Master emphasizes the importance of documenting decisions made in the daily Scrum. So the question is asking you, what is the essence of the daily Scrum? And you know, as I was telling you, in the daily Scrum, you should know who need to come, who leads that daily Scrum, what is its duration. As you have studied, the daily Scrum lasts for only 15 minutes, and it is for the same purpose. We are asking only 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? Was there any impediment? It is just to know the status of the work. And it is also to know the interdependencies between the team members' activities. Because they have come from cross-functional base, we may call them T-shaped members. What is the essence of taking decision? And we are going to document it during this. You have been given 4 alternative answers. Please, all the time, read your answer from D to A. D to A, not A to D. the possibility that you will get the answer correct when you read from D to A is high, in a sense that by the time you have gotten to A, you will then know which of the answer relate to the question and which of them doesn't relate to the question. Second thing you should be doing on the exam day is, as you read through the question, the alternative answers, you strike through wrong answers quickly. So looking at the one I've posted here, formalizing the change control process, compiling with audit requirements, ensuring knowledge transfer for project continuity, and increasing team velocity. The moment you read the question, you should be able to know which of the alternative answers relate to the question. We are just talking about the importance of taking decision at the daily Scrum meeting and documenting them. We are documenting them for future references. Remember, we just want to ensure continuity of the project. If it is a traditional project, we will then be talking about OPAs. And because we want to know where we are, what did we plan? What is our focus? What have we achieved? We should rather do this to ensure we are rather transferring knowledge for perpetuity. So if you look at option D, it doesn't come in at all. Formalizing the change control process. The purpose of the daily Scrum is not to formalize change control process. The purpose of the daily Scrum is to know the status. And having known the status, it is just projecting us into the future. So knowledge can also be transferred there. It is not increasing the team velocity either, and it is not complying with the audit requirement. So if you get a question of this nature, please take your time. Each question, I have given you an answer key and explanation to that. So if you can see my screen, option A is the correct answer in a sense that we are documenting information, we are documenting our successes, we are documenting our challenges at the daily Scrum meeting just to make sure that the next just 24-hour decision would have been taken. So it lasts for only 15 minutes, but it's daily. What decision we have taken today, tomorrow is going to be the reality. So therefore, for continuity, we can also do that. So we continue to say, however, when decision goes beyond adjusting the plans, please, when we go for the Scrum meeting and the issue that has happened goes beyond 15 minutes, as you have studied and you are practicing, it is the duty of the Scrum Master to jot it in a book. We call it parking lot. As you put it in a parking lot, when you have deployed your team, you have an opportunity. You have the remaining time for you to go and assess it. Senior Christian, can I move on to question 2?
Yes, you can move on to question 2. Thanks for this clear explanation. You can move on to the second question.
So the second question says, in a hybrid project, the project manager set up a lessons learned register. So my dear listeners, the project manager has set up lessons learned register that is updated bi-weekly throughout the project lifecycle. So in this wise, you should know lessons learned register is not going to be found in the agile environment. This is pure predictive environment. And the register is going to be updated 2 weeks. Now, rather than just at the end, we are doing this every 2 weeks. What is the purpose of this? A risk mitigation strategy, stakeholder engagement tactics, an approach for continuous knowledge transfer, and a quality control activity. So if we are to nullify the wrong answers here, this is not a risk mitigation strategy. A risk mitigation is a plan you have in place. We may call it your fallback plan or your plan B, but this is not a mitigation strategy. We are developing and updating the lessons learned register every 2 weeks, and it is for future purposes, for future referencing. So therefore, this information, or we are rather putting it in a repository, because we are developing our repository, it is also ensuring continuous knowledge transfer. The people are not going to do this at the end of every phase or sprint, but they have decided to do it 2 weeks within the project lifespan. Every 2 weeks they will do. And for questions, that will refer you to the uses of lessons learned. Please be checking for similarity of the current project. Benchmark it with the previous project. If it shares any resemblances, it is better for you to use that of lesson learned repository. If you don't see the lessons learned repository, you may see OPA, organizational process asset. So one thing you should know this evening is organization process assets, lessons learned document, or retrospective document. They are all enhancing continuity of project knowledge. Sure. Question 2, explanation. An approach for continuous knowledge transfer, as I was explaining it to you. So you need to be updating this lessons learned register. This lessons learned register is going to be the same way like Rex register, the same way like stakeholder register. You keep on updating it till the project comes to an end. And what is its purpose? It is going to be used to capture insights, successes, and failure as they occur. Please, the bottom line is, if either agile or predictive question compels you to use the current project to the past project, then it has given you an opportunity to fall on lessons learned. If you are to prepare an estimate whereby you don't have the data available and this OPA, lessons learned repository information are available, quickly fall on it. That might be the correct answer. Okay. Question number 3. A project manager in a fast-paced technology company schedule brief lessons captured. Session at the end of each major project phase, rather than waiting until the project closure. The primary benefit of this approach is you are the project manager. Some of the information in the question, we may call it distractors, irrelevant. We don't need them anyway. But the question has made it clear to you that you are rather putting lesson learned session in place. Instead of you to wait for the project to come to an end, you are doing it at the end of every major phase. And you know, at the end of every major phase, we take a decision. We call it a stage gate. We call it exit point. We are taking a decision as to should we continue the project? Should we terminate the project? If we are terminating, what is the reason behind? If we are continuing the project, what is the reason behind? So it gives you an opportunity to review and take a decision on it. The primary benefit of this approach is reading from D. It fulfills a mandatory requirement for the project quality assurance policy. You may think in line with this answer, but that is not the correct answer. At times, the 4 alternative answers given you, they all seems right, but the question go ahead to say choose the best out of the 4. You are talking about quality assurance policy here. That will be part of project documents, but this is not the essence of lessons learned. It facilitates timely knowledge retention whilst experiences are still fresh. As we are doing it phase by phase, we are documenting challenges, successes, opportunities. Senior members who may be expert in their jurisdiction will share their experiences. Other end users may also come and share their experiences. So it gives you an opportunity, whilst you are retaining knowledge, whilst you are equipping your team, ideas will be fresh in mind. The mistake we have done in phase 1, we will never replicate them in phase 2 because the data will speak to that fact. What we have done, it helps us, we will know what we did and it didn't help on the project, it will come to light. So we will be able to retain knowledge. We are going to enhance ourselves. We are going to develop very well because the reality is going to be seen. When you go to B option, it allows real-time updates to project stakeholder communication plan. It is through the lessons learned. When we have realized that communication did not go right, then we will go to the communication plan, then we review. So it is one step before the other. If you haven't done C, you cannot do that of B. And if you look at A, it ensures all project risks are formally closed. We are not going to do any closure on risks at the closing phase of the project. At the closing phase, it is 2 activities you do. You will do that of project closure and you'll be doing administrative closure. If this happens to be the predictive, these are the 2 main activities. Project closure or contract closure happens at the phase end. At each phase of the project, you close it. You are checking from initiation to planning to executing, monitoring, control. Have I done what was being given me? Have I met the project requirement? Is everything okay by the project? Will the sponsor accept it or will the sponsor come for correction? So you do V and V, validation and verification. If validation and verification have been done right, the project will be accepted. So that is contract closing. But when you are doing administrative closure, you may be going through 4 or 5 phases. And when the entire project has come to an end, you need to review all these documents. The possibility that you may not be the sub project manager who started the project is very high and ending the project. So several project managers who might have handled aspects of the project, you still need to review their document, check the submitters. Is there any outstanding fee? Is there anyone you owe? Is there any document you have to check on? Is there any resource you need to release? When you are doing all these, you are doing administrative closure. Then you go for proper sign-off. Once you have gone for proper sign-off, the information you have generated from that phase, it goes into the company archives. That is also retaining institutional knowledge. So when we are talking about knowledge continuity, it is you thinking a way for you to enhance the corporate knowledge as well as individual, the way and manner they will also do a project without any hitches. So looking at question 3, the correct answer is C. Let's go to the answer key and its explanation. The answer here is C. It facilitates timely knowledge and retention whilst experiences are still fresh in mind. Fresh in mind is that we will be able to talk about, because it is the work, we did the work ourselves. That will be the predictive. If it is an agile environment, my dear listener, this session we will call it the retrospective session. What challenge did the product owner pose on the project? Was our Scrum Master that friendly enough, approachable? The cross-functional team we have been talking about, did we recognize the bond, the cohesiveness within the team? Was there any conflict? Was there any disintegration? The team charter we documented, did we work within or we decided to do whatever we wanted to do? So it helps us to retain the knowledge and keeps ideas. This memory is going to be fresh in mind. Look at the explanation. The primary benefit of holding lessons learned session is immediately after each phase of the project, it preserves critical tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is through experience and contextual details before they are lost or distorted. That's why as soon as the project is coming to an end and you are in a projectized environment, in the projectized environment, the attitude of the team members changes when the project is coming to an end. So you should be able to gather them around, document the lessons learned. If the project ends rather than you let them go, ideas will not be fresh, as we are saying. Some will be distorted. So as we are ending the project, assuming we are ending the project tomorrow, formal documentation, we will finish it today. So you call a meeting. After calling the meeting, all team members should come sit down with you, share the experiences. And over there, if there's a need for us to throw a party, depending on whatever charter has given, we do so. So when insights are documented, whilst event and decision are recent, team provide more accurate, specific, and actionable information. So please, the practices do lessons learned and retrospective session, and the importance is what we have studied. It is just ensuring knowledge retention and continuity. Good. The next domain I was asked to select questions and prepare on was domain 3, business environment. And business environment question, people don't do well here at all. Business environment, people don't do well. And people focus their attention mostly on processes and that of people. Business environment questions are not that many, but at least it will do you good if you master this and you pass the paper. For me, if you are rating where you should study, you should be focusing on processes first. When you are done, people orientation questions are not difficult, then you master business environment. Business environment, these are the core. What business environment question focus on? Number one, we are now going to establish metrics early. So here we want to deliver value and know the benefit of the value. If you have been going through your sample question, you might have realized that some stakeholders midway the project will come and ask you, what is the benefit realization of this project? To them, we are wasting time. To them, the benefit we are getting from the project doesn't align with the project vision. So first thing is, you should be able to evaluate, communicate the mission and vision of the project, say them alongside the delivery. So to make things easier, establish a clear matrix earlier. Early stage of the project, you should be able to know how are we going to then measure value. Please, the predictive way of doing project will be talking about requirement traceability metrics. And requirement traceability metrics will give you all the requirements which will be summing up to benefit realization plan. What benefit are we going to derive from the project and what are we putting in place in order to achieve such a benefit? So you should be thinking of that. Establish it early. When it comes to the agile environment, we'll be talking about definition of ready and definition of done. DOD. A lot of practitioners, a lot of aspiring candidates think that the definition of done is the work of the product owner. Please, the definition of done is in the hands of the developers, the architect, the development team, those who are doing the work, the Scrum team. They set, plan their own definition of done. Then they will consult the product owner through the Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master will facilitate a meeting, then we will all discuss our definition of done. and definition of ready. This is also going to be a metric you can use to determine the value we are determining per each sprint early in the project life. When these are clear enough before we start the project, you wouldn't get any issue. So a lot of questions will say, what should the project manager might have done to avoid that confusion? Product owner says what they have produced is of no value. The team members are also saying what we have produced is of value. So what should you have done to avoid such a scenario? When you read a conflict question around that information as I've proposed, it means definition of done was not right. It was not determined earlier. And you'll be seeing sample question quickly. Number 2, we should be able to track and communicate realization progress. Some practice questions will say stakeholders are demotivated. Stakeholders are worrying the Scrum Master. Some stakeholders are saying the project lacks the vision. Some stakeholders are even saying we have deviated. That means you have silenced your stakeholders. For you to achieve their support, it will be better to collaborate with them. How do you collaborate with them? Intermittently furnish your project team with reports. Make it that simple. And how am I going to make it simple? If you are in agile environment, please use information radiators. Bend up charts, bend down charts. Bend up chart, work really accomplished. Bend down chart, the remaining work. You can equally use the Kanban board if it's about the team who wish to know what is at stake. Visualizing the work, the flow, you can use the Kanban board. But if I'm disseminating information to stakeholders, then I can use that of the information radiator. When it comes to the traditional way, waterfall or predictive, tracking progress, we'll be using the end value calculation. A mathematical question, they will ask you to interpret CPI as against SPI. So you should be knowing this end value, their formulas, what they stand for, and others. But its interpretation is the most important thing. So we should be able to track and realize whether we are in line or we have deviated. And if a question gives you interpretation of CPI as against SPI, at times you will be given opportunity to be thinking of whether the project needs to be crashed or whether the project needs to be fast-tracked. All these things, we are doing it purposely to track and report progress. You know, whether things are well on the project or things are bad, you still need to communicate. The third one is align deliverables to strategic outcome. The modern way we do project, every outcome should be in alignment with the vision. The sponsor wants to know whether you are meeting the project goal or you have deviated. The product owner wants to know whether you are meeting return on investment or you have deviated from the requirement. That's why if we have to add on to the requirement, it has to go through the backlog requirement processes. So some question will say the sprint is in motion. The moment we have started sprint, if we want to be in line with the sprint or iteration mission, vision, goal or target, let the sprint come to an end first. Whatever you wanted to add, the product owner should be aware of it. We will add it to the backlog item. We will refine, then we will reprioritize. If it is the traditional project, that means escalation path needs to come in. But when you have tracked and you realize the issue goes beyond you, then you have to go through the change control board. So evaluating and delivering project, you should know the benefit of that change, the benefit of whatever you are doing. Let's go through quickly some questions here. Question 4. During the initial backlog refinement, so when the terminology comes like this, you should be able to know which stage am I in. during the initial backlog refinement. So it means the sprint has come to an end. Something might have been added to the requirement given by the product owner. Either we are taking something out, resizing it, or adding on to. The product owner insists on writing a benefit hypothesis for each epic. And when you talk of epic, we are looking at the bigger picture. When you go to the traditional project, we are looking at cascading the deliverables to work package level. The same way the Agile project will start it from epic, you come to cases, from cases you go to user stories, then you come to story point. So the lower level, you'll be cascading them. Now the question says, the product owner insists on writing the benefit of each epic. So when you take a block representing a phase representing a sprint, we want to know information around it. This is practice, or this practice is crucial to what? This practice, the product owner is rather advocating. It is crucial to which of the alternative answers. So we are reading from D to A. Calculate the project budget. If we are to calculate the project budget, we will rather be determine the budget. So determine the budget, there you'll be thinking of contingency reserve, you'll be thinking about management reserve, you'll be thinking about the baseline. But this question does not go to the calculation of the budget. Assign tasks to developers. If you really want to assign tasks, developers, we don't assign tasks. They are rather empowered. They are self-autonomous. So if you go for C, you are rather assigning tasks. It means you are violating the rules and law of PMI. Determine the project critical path. Critical path analysis is going to be done by shadow or network diagram. You are aware. We are talking about epic in Agile, and you are rather going for option B. So it is a mismatch answer. But when it comes to option A, investigate the benefit, whether it is going to be good or bad. So the benefit we have rather identified, we just want to investigate. That's why we are putting hypothesis to just test the case, whether it will be good or it will be bad. So backlog refinement is really important. But as you have even refined, you can give it a try. And giving it a try is what this question is calling it benefit hypothesis. So answer and explanation. Ensure that the benefits are identified. So you are just putting assumption to test whether it will be a fact or it will be a constraint. So all hypotheses should be put to test. We just want to do that. Now, explanation says writing a benefit hypothesis for each epic during a backlog refinement is a practice rooted in a value-driven development. We just want to see the value because the focus here is about value. And the primary purpose is to articulate and validate the intended value of the outcome. So we just want to see, assuming all things work equal and the work has come to an end, what would have been the value we would deliver to the customer. And by so doing, the business will also be valid. Remember, the customer we are working for wants value and he needs return on investment. So whatever feature he will be thinking of, whatever specification, whatever requirement, we should rather check it out, whether it will meet the standard given or it will not suffice. Great. Question 5, in the business environment. In the waterfall project, the business case includes a session formally signed by the head of operation, agreeing to measure and report of efficiency gain for 3-year post-launch. This document primarily serves to. Let me go through the question again, as you can see my screen. In a waterfall project, traditional way, the business case is the justification why we are doing the project, the rationale behind the project. If you are doing the project and there's no justification, so in the charter, then you will know the justification. In the project charter, then you know the business case. In the project charter, then you will know the problem statement. So this is what they are saying. The business case includes a section formally signed by the head of operations, agreeing to measure and report on efficiency gain for 3-year post-launch. This document primarily serves to. So we are just forecasting the 3-year duration, what will be the state of affairs. Will the project bring us income, or we are going to lose more on the project? So we'll be doing benefit analysis on the project. Out of the alternative answer, establish the project charter. It is rather through the project charter that the business case is going to know. So if you go for alternative D, it means you don't know what the business case is and you don't know what the charter is about. Every charter will be having 12 elements. You are aware. Business case is going to be stated, assumption is going to be stated, constraints will be stated, summary timeline, summary budget, appointed project manager, your name, possible team members. All these are found on the project charter. Define the project quality standard. Quality standard is not going to be found within the charter, but rather in the project management plan. When it has been refined, then quality management plan and its accessories will be also known. Securing funding for the project. This is cost management plan work. It is cost management plan that we will be able to know how funding is going to be secured on the project, whether through equity, whether through ownership, through self-financing, or you can also to go for debt or borrowing. If you want to borrow for the project, you can equally do. But if you look out for option A, document agreement on ownership for ongoing benefit realization. The owner wants to know whether the project we are doing, it will bring us benefit or not. So ideal answer here, A to D, the correct answer PMI has given is A. Document agreement on ownership for ongoing benefit realization. In fact, it gives them the roadmap, the dashboard. What are we doing? Is it worth investing or we are rather losing? So the business case is the document that justifies the project based on its expected value or benefit, including formal sign-off from head of operation, as I've explained to you, to measure and report on efficiency gain. In fact, you cannot do the project in isolation of the owners. Once they are there, all that they care for when we are doing a status meeting is what have you accomplished? Tell us the R return on investment. Are we getting more or we are losing or we are breaking even? So let us know state of affairs. Good. Question number 6. My dear listeners, if you have questions, jot it down. You will be having an opportunity to ask your questions. A lot of your questions will center on MVP, minimal viable product. And a lot of candidates who come through our hands for training, they don't know when to use MVP. MVP is normally used when you want to determine value as soon as possible, a quick way to gather information, feedback from users, and see their responses. If you want to roll out a project and you don't have all the details, but you really want to gather feedback quickly, a tool, an approach, a mechanism, a strategy you can then employ here is minimal viable product. So when you read a question that, oh, the product owner was not clear on what exactly he want to do, but really want to get the response from the market quickly, then we will take advantage of the market. You have to then roll out MVP. Okay, a hybrid project, the moment they say hybrid, you know it's a combination of the predictive and that of the agile project. A hybrid project team is deciding between delivering a full feature set in 6 months or a minimal viable product in 2 months to gather user feedback. If they decide to go for delivering it full time, predictive will work. If they decide to be rolling the features over some time, you see, 6 months, that means they are thinking of agile way of doing the project. The project manager is facilitating a cost-benefit analysis of these options. Which way to go? Do I have to present the picture as the traditional way of doing my project, or should I educate them on the usage of MVP? So the question says, this is best described as. Please, when you go and your question, part of them have been capitalized, best, next, first. Be careful. It means all the answers over there may seem right, but pick the one that stands out tall. Some keeps on coming in the questions like that. Practice questions you have solved online, you have seen. Simulator questions you have been going through, you have seen. So when they capitalize best, next, first, last, please read and read it right. So the scenario here they have described, the question says, this is best described as, are we evaluating delivery option to demonstrate your value, or we are assessing organizational culture? Are we recommending options for scope change, or we are verifying the measurement system in place? We are using MVP as against doing it traditionally. So which of the options will you go for? If you have paper and pen at home now, assuming this is your PMP question number 1 or 5, which of the answers will you go? Think through very right. PMI says the correct answer here is A. A in the sense that we are just verifying the measurement system in place. Verifying the measurement system in place is, will it be appropriate for me to use Agile, or will it be appropriate for me to use the traditional way? Now, the explanation says the business case is the document that justify. I think we have already explained this. And after explaining this, this is rather talking about the MVP system. The MVP can also help you to achieve project delivery on time. Now, the last activity for the day before your question comes in is evaluating and addressing external environmental changes. And the focus of category 3 is proactively monitor and assess external landscape. People don't do very well in this sector or this section of the exams, in the sense that when risk responses question comes, they don't know which of them do they have to use. And risk should be monitored continuously throughout the project life, because it's an uncertain event. If it happens positive, we will buy into it. It goes negative, we are going to be impacted negatively. So therefore, we should proactively keep on monitoring risks, until the project comes to an end. As you are monitoring risks, the same way your stakeholder register should also be updated, because the stakeholder register is also going to continually be updated. Every phase of the sprint or phase or every session of the project, new stakeholders may be coming on board. As you are monitoring the stakeholders, you'll be monitoring their engagement level. You'll be monitoring their grid, who is having high power, who is having low power, which stakeholder is demotivated, which stakeholder is rather supportive, which stakeholder is resistant. What can I do to change their perception? All these things you should be doing because you want to evaluate and address external influence. Some questions you will meet will say, you have a communication system in place, but external vendors, external stakeholders are dealing with your team directly. What should you do? I have instituted, you and your Scrum team has come out with your charter that this is how our communication will be. But other external influencers, they are also dealing with your Scrum team directly without your knowledge. What should you do? Do you have to update the communication? Do you have to keep monitoring it till the project comes to a close? What will you do? So when we are saying proactively monitor, that means keep a level eye, keep a watch. If it is about REX, assign a REX owner. The REX owner will be giving us update on the REX. Is it rather going up? Is it coming down? Is it becoming negligible? Should we also focus our resources in it? So if it's a REX, you assign a REX owner, and every status meeting, that person will give us an update. Because external influence, we call them in the traditional sector as enterprise environmental factor. You have studied it before. EEF, to make it better, in under jurisdiction, they will say the personal factors, the political, the social, the economic, the environment, all these things will have control over your work. And the most important thing they bring in an agile question is your team are remotely dispersed. How will communication be? Your team members are finding themselves in different time zones. Before this session, those who have joined from afar, US and others, +2, +5. We are currently in Ghana, almost 7 o'clock. Someone in US, either the person is in the night or starting his day. So if my team members are remotely dispersed, I should be monitoring the external environment, whether it will be having influence on my team or not. So the EEF could be internal, it could be external. But the external one is that I've mentioned earlier. It could be market condition. It could be regulatory requirement. Quality question will say, it wasn't planned ahead. It was not part of your project. But suddenly, the project manager has found that this is a regulatory requirement. And without fulfilling it, the project cannot continue. What should you do? And this is the essence of assigning a REX owner to be monitoring the REX for you. So proactively, you should monitor the REX, assess its impact on the project. Point number 2, or bullet number 2, develop an agile response. Agile, we are thinking of workaround. It wasn't part, it has happened, so quickly I need to fix it and be moving. We will not be having an opportunity for us to be waiting for no. Agile, quick response, because we are talking about flexibility. Just to mitigate risks and seize opportunity that will be coming your way. When you go to number 3, we are talking about building organizational resiliency. How strong and how robust will your organization be to position themselves for future? So to prepare yourself externally, this will be issues whereby the vendor or the contractor you are dealing with has indicated to you earlier. Anticipate a delay in delivery. It is now an issue. Your project I'm going to work on is going to delay 2 weeks. External influence. The community says, whatever you are doing, we will not agree to it. External influence. Government regulation says stop the work. If you don't comply, you cannot go ahead. It was not anticipated and it has happened. These external influences, how will you deal with them? I have a question here for you on that. A Scrum team building a financial application learns about a new regulatory requirement. A Scrum team, that is the developers, they are working on financial records and they have learned about a new regulatory requirement. You know, this is a standard. It needs to be complied with. You cannot do without compliance issues. So this requirement is needed for data encryption. The product owner adds a story to the backlog to investigate the impact, which is the right thing to do. We are developers. We have identified it. It has been communicated to the product owner. The product owner thought it wise to add a backlog item, to go through the refinement. We will get an opportunity to review. Then we will investigate the impact. This initial action is best described as A, surveying changes to the external business environment. If you wish to read it from A to D, but the best thing is D, please. Recommending option for backlog changes, assessing organizational change, verifying the benefit measurement system. Impact is going to be felt and seen on the project. The person has rather inculcate an item on the backlog list. So we are now going to put to test whether it will have impact on the project or not. And they are saying this initial action is best described as, is it verifying the benefit measurement system? Is it assessing organizational readiness in culture? Is it recommending option for backlog changes? Or it is surveying changes to the external environment? External environment can aid you positively and negatively. Now, so you should be thinking of the answers, which of them will be a wrong answer and which of them will be a correct answer. Thinking through this, you should come to a conclusion with your answer. This is classically telling you that we are rather doing a baseline survey, we are doing a feasibility study, we are doing a recognizance survey, we are just changing the environment, we are putting to step, we will say environmental scanning, surveying changes to external business environment. That's why he added it to the backlog, just to investigate. And as he is going to investigate, he is just putting it to test how it will be. The explanation says the new regulatory requirement is a change in the external business environment. Specifically, one, it is legal, it is also regulatory. By adding a backlog item, it gives an opportunity to investigate its impact. The product owner is rather being proactive here. So when a scenario is being created and you need to think through and pick an answer, dear stakeholder, be ready to look out for external impact. A question I read some time ago was saying you have done a project midway. The people were saying the project is of no value, external influence. What should you have done? Anytime you go through the project midway, stakeholders are giving you challenge. That means you did not align them earlier. Your communication was wrong. The project mission was not communicated. Rex analysis was done wrong. Then external influence, we will call them EEF, you did not also consider. Question number 8. In a hybrid project, a new competitor product launch is identified as a major market change. The project manager leads a session to determine if this affects the project scope, schedule, cost, or any of the triple or extended constraint you know. So the project manager wants to lead a session to determine if the project So leading a session here, we will call it a spike because we are doing a research. We just want to put to test. So when you do a spike, you are doing a prototype to know the impact, how it will be like on the larger project in terms of the numbers. So the project manager leads a session to determine if the effects or if this affects the project scope, schedule, or cost, and which aspects are most critical. This session is found on what? Or this session is focused on what? This session is on what? What are they really doing? D, evaluating delivery option, assessing and prioritizing impact on project scope / backlog, documenting agreement on benefits, and outline expectation for working environment. As I've said, after reading through the question, try as much as possible to knock off your wrong answers first. The two remaining, think through and you'll get your answer right. Here, we are not evaluating delivery option. We are rather assessing and prioritizing the impact on the project scope as against the backlog. Backlog will be in Agile. The scope statement or the scope itself will be for the traditional way of doing project. So the nutshell of this question is trying to say we are assessing if we prioritize them, what will be the effect? What will be the impact? Because when your items are being prioritized, effect on one may affect the other. So once it gives you opportunity to prioritize, it helps you to know which of them to do first, which of them also to follow. So the correct answer, as I was explaining, is C, assessing and prioritize impact on the project scope / backlog. The session this is explicitly focused on analyzing how external change, especially your competitors, their products, their competitors. So as you are working on the product, service, or result, the same they also doing, but how will you outwit them? How will your scope outwit them? How will your features of your product outwit them? Will you buy into their services in yours or you do something differently? What are they doing that you are not doing, and why is it that your product or service is standing out? So you have to be thinking of competitive advantage here because it's an external environment. Affect key project elements, your scope schedule, as you know, the expanded constraint, resources can be there, quality can be there, risk can be there, and determine which of these will have the most critical impact. This activity directly involves assessing the effects and you prioritizing them. So the best two answers, I have given it in the bolding font size. Assessing the effects and prioritizing the requirement. Okay. I'll be ending very soon on question 9 or 10 so that you also be having opportunity to ask me your questions. I was told that you'll be given 30 solid minutes for you to ask questions, then we all share knowledge. Last one. A project using a predictive approach has a formal change control board. Formal change control board. If you don't see change control board, you may see project management office. You may see center of excellence. You may see the meta board. You may see the steering committee. They are the same terminologies, they may play around it. So a project manager is using a predictive way of doing projects. Formal change control board, the CCB, is no. When a geopolitical event disrupts a key supply chain. Earlier on, I was telling you that change has happened. And the way it is going, one of the effects was geopolitics. You don't have control over it. And now look at the impact. It has disrupted a key supply chain. The project manager's responsibility is to bring a formal analysis and recommended actions to the change control board. The project manager main responsibility is to recommend to the change control board. Now, this process aligns with which task? A is there, B has been given, C has been given, by D. Let me read from D. Evaluate the project benefit, ensure knowledge transfer, evaluate and address external business environment changes from impact on scope, and supporting organizational change. At least 3 questions will come in line with change control board. And please, anytime you need to escalate change to stakeholders or to higher office, one thing you should be asking yourself, what have you yourself done about the change? Is it not within your terrain? Have you worked on it and you are giving the or passing the back to someone else? Because the change control, every time you think of a change, if the change is not well managed, it becomes a creep, scope creep, you are aware. So to manage change very right, let the requester put it into writing, assess the impact on time, cost, and other constraints. Please, if the impact is felt within scope, time, cost, it is now within your hands as a project manager, because project manager, it is you and your team that determines the duration. The management approves it. It is you and your team that decide on the scope. You will call it scope baseline. It will be approved. It is you and your team that will determine the cost through cascading management to add their reserve, then becomes the budget. It was in your hand. But when it has to do with value, resources, risks, quality is, should I say, quality is relative, yes. What will be quality to senior management will not be quality to you. The resource you are looking for, management says that resource is not available. So you need to go and think through, negotiate with the functional managers. When it has to do with external constraint, please escalate it to the project management office. And as you go through the escalation, prepare your defenses because they will ask you for justification. Now, looking at this question, which alternative answer will you go for? Is it A, B, C, or D? The correct answer is rather B. And it says evaluate and assess external business environment to know its impact on scope. Because scope, time, cost is a triangle, the change in one affects the other. You still remember the triple constraint. So you need to address its impact. Because if scope is affected, shadow is affected. If shadow is affected, cost is affected. I will pause here on question 9 and gives you opportunity to ask questions. The more questions you ask, the better we will refine the information and your readiness to go and write. Dear Christian, I will then pause and engage participants for question and answer session.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. See if there are questions from the participants. Also, let me see if we can give them access to be able to unmute themselves. So we have a question from Tammy and Duncan. Just one moment, let me just try to give them access. All right, Duncan, feel free to unmute yourself, please.
Hi there, Eric. Not really a question, but just to point out that your answer to question 6 didn't really correlate to question 6. It was actually an answer to another question. So just in the future, if you use the slide presentation, just make a note. The answers to question 6 don't correlate with question 6.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I think it was a typo.
Yeah, no problem. Just for future reference. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Duncan. Tammy, feel free to unmute yourself, please. Tammy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good
Okay.
evening, and thank you for the session. My question is still related to what you said earlier. Do you want to take us through the answer for that question 6 again? I would appreciate that. The right answer for question 6.
Okay. Now the question 6 is talking about MVP. Sorry, this was done in a rush. I was thinking the presentation time is 6. It was Christian who alerted me it is 5. So when the team was putting it together, sorry, they made a mistake here. So if you look at question 6, evaluating delivery option to demonstrate value, assessing organizational culture, recommending option for scope changes, verifying measurement system. In fact, we have been given 2 premises, either to deliver it in the full feature set or to go through MVP. So the correct answer here will be D. You are just evaluating the options to deliver value. Should we go MVP approach or should we go the full set approach? MVP will do for Agile, whilst the waterfall or rather be doing the features, as they will call it, the full set. So my dear listener, the answer for question 6 is rather D. It is D. Over, Christian.
All right. Thanks, Eric. We have one hand from Rachel. Rachel, feel free to unmute yourself, please. Then
okay.
Go ahead.
I want to start off by saying thank you so much for putting this together. This is such a productive engagement. And so my question is, I'll be sitting for the exam, hopefully on the 27th of next month. What should I be looking at? What area should I be concentrating on preparing myself for the exam? Thank you, and over.
Thank you very much, my sister. As you are preparing yourself, the nature of the question will be something might have gone wrong. You need to fix it. That will be the scenario that will be coming a lot in your question. After reading the question, you realize that no, something has gone wrong and I need to fix it. And fixing it, you should be thinking, am I in agile environment or am I in predictive environment? If it's about agile, be thinking of iteration, sprint. If it's the traditional, we'll be thinking of phase. Then you'll be thinking of the terminologies we use. Am I dealing with the product owner? Am I dealing with the project sponsor? So my sister, the first thing is something has gone wrong. The second thing you should also be thinking of, don't be surprised. They present the questions in 3 sets or 3 different batches. Either first set will be very long questions, like 3 or 4 sentences. You know, when you are done with first 60, you submit, another 60 will come, you submit another 60. So either your first 60 will be long, or it will be average, or it will be very short. Those who don't pass it on their first attempt, what happens to them is the very first set of questions, when it happens to be very long, they normally don't do well. The exams take control over them. Their hearts start to palpitate. You have started failing at that point. Relax. If you are not sure of it, come back and review. Research shows that when you look at a question twice, understanding becomes clearer. So what you should be expecting, number 2, is some questions will be long, some questions will be short, some questions will be moderately long. Prepare yourself. Your watch out number 3 will be The questions you are going to answer, some will come in matching form. Select two multiple alternative. I didn't get opportunity to bring them here. A question will give you about 5 options, A to E, and they ask you select 2, select 3. Please, it will be better for you to select 2 or select 3. When they say 3, go for 3. When they say 2, because each go for a point. So you get multiple questions. You will also be getting matching questions. Matching questions will be definition to the terminology. So classical example will say we are talking about type of contract. So fixed price contract is one of the terminology they're giving you, and they have given you cost reimbursable. So the definition will say the product scope is detailed. Cost is known upfront. Budget is known upfront. Team members are conversant with the processes. Which of the terminologies will match this definition? You know, in fixed price contract, all these I've said will be there, so you match it to that. But in the cost reimbursable, the scope is not known upfront. Budget cannot be determined, so therefore changes will be forthcoming. So you match it. So watch out for matching questions. Watch out for select or 3 multiple options. Watch out for long questions, average question, and very short. Please try to work within your time. Try your hands on a simulation exam. When you go online, you can get a lot of them. Try to do 3 or 4 simulation questions before you go. Test your speed. If not, you'll be surprised. If you allow the exams to take over you, you'll be taking wrong answers. But when you have taken time to work within your space, you'll be able to pass and pass very well. The PMP exams is not difficult, but one needs to be time disciplined. Work, practice, solve more questions before you go on the D-Day. The more questions you solve, the better opportunity to appreciate the concept. If you are a type who cannot sit continuously for 4 hours, please, when you are down for 1 hour, exercise the break that will be giving you, stretch your legs, sip water. Don't use all the 10 minutes, at least 2 minutes, refresh, come back, sit. But if you are a type who can sit continuously 4 hours, that is also fine. But watch what you eat that day. Don't take anything watery that will push you to the washroom. Stay focused, prepare, tune your mind, look onto your camera, and everything will be fine. Have I answered your question, please?
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. One more question, please. So how many questions are we looking at, and what's the time duration for this exam?
We are looking at 180 questions. The duration is 3 hours, 50 minutes. So 230 minutes. By these 230 minutes, 20 minutes of it is your break. And you can do it online or in person. If you are doing it online, what you should be doing is make sure your laptop is having a workable webcam. The camera is sharp. The people can monitor you and see you on your screen. Your speaker works. When they talk, you can hear them, and you should get a reliable source of internet. If you want to go in person, the same duration, 3 hours, 50 minutes. And when first 60 minutes is done, you'll be given 10 minutes break. If you wish, you can exercise it. If you care to stay and continue, you can equally do. There's a button which will ask you continuing the exams or pause. So it depends on how you prepare for that day. But my dear sister, the more questions you solve, the better your chances of passing. And you can just go online to Google sample PMP question based on PMBOK 7. They will give you a lot. They will give you a lot. So
Okay,
more
I'm
than
currently studying. Sorry. I'm currently studying the practical questions on the study hall. Is that useful?
yeah, it is very useful. But don't stick to one. try variation online, try a lot of questions you can have, you may chance on. Don't stick to one. Any
Okay.
questions, they will give you options A to D, it's okay. But when they give you option A to D to E, that is not a standard. The more questions you solve, the better. So stick to the whole one you are using, but be adding on. You can get a lot of
Okay.
YouTube videos as well, and they will explain the concept to your hearing.
All right. Thanks, Eric. We have one more question from Duncan. Duncan, feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, just something you mentioned, Eric. You said that if you get a question where you have to choose 3 options, let's say out of 5, that you, for example, let's say you have to choose 3 and you only get 1 right, you still get a point for the one which was correct. I just wanted to confirm that because previously, if you didn't get on other, I did some training last year, and if you didn't get all 3 right, you got 0 for that question. So I just want to confirm that during the PMI exam, if you have to choose 3 and you only get 1 right, or you get 2 right, that you will get those points, and that you won't get 0 if you don't get all 3. You can just confirm.
Okay. From the practice, we have been going through the simulator. If the question says select 3, select 2, hardly they will mark you 0 on you getting 1 correct. So such persons end up with 6 points, 8 points. So they will not mark you 0 out of 6 or 8. If I have to choose 2 and the score is for 4, I'll get 2 out of 4. If I have to choose 3 and it is for 6 and I've gotten 2, I'll get 4 out of 6. So they are not that going to be rigid on you not getting the last one or the last option to be right. That's why the questions are now 180, but they mark it over 200. They have a way they do the adjustment so that you'll be able to pass and pass well. So formally, they may score you 0 out of the point, but now at least averagely, you may get a score.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Right, thanks. Jali, could you ask your question? I can see you did post your question on the chat. Are you able to unmute yourself and ask directly to Eric? Jali?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great stuff. Hi, Eric, and hi, everyone. So thanks for the questions that you shared. But in the scenarios that you shared, I saw that it was only speaking to the first part, say, maybe it is an environmental issue. And with most of the questions that I've seen, they would speak to the environmental issue and still maintain that the project should not be pushed out. And I was a bit struggling with how do you approach those? What do you prioritize? Say, it's a compliance issue that we know we cannot proceed without resolving yet. This project sponsor is saying, please do not push out my timelines. So what would be the best approach to answer such questions?
Okay. Well noted. I've heard you clearly. Now, if it's a compliance issue and the sponsor is not willing for you to do what is right, the traditional way of doing projects, it will be better you enter into a closing phase. I know the impact of the project and per your expertise. If we don't meet that compliance, there's no way we can move on the project. You have tried your way out to talk things over with the sponsor. The sponsor doesn't seem to understand You have done all that you could to help him understand so that the project move on. If the sponsor still resists, for ethics' sake, you should enter the closing phase of the project. And you document the reason why you are terminating the project. When it's about agile contest, you have to engage the product owner, sit him down, let him buy into the reason why we need to change one or two before the project moves on. Agile will be a bit easier, unlike the traditional, because Agile, if a timeline is going to be affected and I've communicated to the sponsor or the product owner, we will rather add it to the backlog item. So that change compliance issue is going to be solved in Agile. That wouldn't be a problem. But in the traditional way, when you communicate and the person seems not to agree, you have fall on the project management office till it didn't work. He seemed not to agree. For ethics' sake, it is better to wash your hands off the project. But in another context, if you come to an agile and it's an external influence that is affecting the project, and you have total authority over it, you have to ward off, shut it off, push it out from the team, block that impediment so that the team will be able to work. In a sense that shoulder the trouble, handle it, go solve it for the team while the team get their ample time to work. So the question may be in different scenarios. But if it's going to tarnish your work as a project manager, as a scrum master, and you have communicated it, value its importance, and the owner doesn't seem to align with you, for ethics' sake, you put a stop to the project. Because the output of the project will speak a lot about who did the project. I don't know whether I've answered your question, please.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Welcome.
Also, we have another question that is from Amina. Amina, kindly if you can unmute yourself. Amina Kiwe. Okay, if Amina is not able, then Ayuba. Ibrahim, please go ahead. Let me just help you with the unmute. Okay. Ayuba, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the insightful session. My question goes thus: for someone that is trying to sit for the exams in two months' time, what's the first book or a recommendation you will actually do for the person to read before going into questions, answering questions, or entering the study hall, please? Thank you. Just to understand the tools, the techniques, and all that.
Okay. Now, if you have 2 months as your milestone to write the exam, reading the PMBOK is good, but it is not that friendly. You have to master the courage to do the reading. You should be looking out for the task under each domain. In fact, what will help you to pass the exam is to know tasks under each domain. Time wasn't our side. I was told to just work on 2 tasks. Domain 2 processes domain 3. You see, even this time, I spoke only about 9 questions. Another session, I may come with a lot of questions. So my dear brother, as you are preparing for the exam, for me, majority of the questions are centered on Agile Scrum, Agile Scrum, Agile Scrum. So look out for Agile framework, and there's a textbook to Agile or Scrum. Read that one. When you go online, you may even get Agile video, watch it and understand the premise or the whole framework of Agile and how Scrum works. Once you have done that, zoom onto the questions. Find time to select questions on process domain only. Find time to search questions on people-oriented questions only. Find time to do a lot of questions on business environment. Once you have gotten the understanding of these three, do sample mock, do try tests, start with 50, do 100, do 150, do 200. In fact, the trick to pass this PMP is more questions you solve, the better your chances. But reading will not help you anyway. At least you understand the environment. If you are reading the Agile, there are about 3 or 4 things you need to know. One is Agile, their roles. Who is a Scrum Master? Who happens to be the development team? Who is the product owner? 3. Then you go to events. What do we do at daily Scrum meeting? Who needs to come? You should understand this. If you go for sprint planning, what do we do? Who needs to come? It's important, documented. Sprint review. This is where you'll be doing demo, demonstration, launching, release to the customer. Who needs to attend? Each function. If it's clear to you, you finish up with retrospective session. Who needs to come and what is each function? If Agile documents are clear to you, you talk about also artifact. Artifact, we are talking about product backlog, sprint backlog, then release or information radiators. If these things are clear to you in Agile, then you go on to the traditional project to talk about what is project charter, what is the function of stakeholders, who we have in high power, high interest. And this will be application of knowledge. So my dear brother, the 2 months milestone you set for yourself, at least visit the PMBOK once. Flash your eyes through, see what the book is talking about, center your strength, or your strength should be on Agile. Read a lot, solve a lot of questions. And to me, when you go online, you can get questions that has been arranged solely on Scrum, solely on traditional project. Each one you solve, find the interpretation. Read and understand why you got it wrong, why you got it right, so that if next opportunity is given you, you'll be able to pass. Please, if you do 100 questions and you cannot score 75, don't rush to schedule the exam. If you still do the 100 questions and you cannot get 75 correct, don't rush to schedule. If you administer 180 and you cannot get about 135, 140, 150 right, it means there's still a learning gap you need to bridge. Don't be in a rush. But when you have done about 3 sets of questions and everything is clear to you, 150, you had 120. Another 150, you had 130. Another 150, you had 145. It means you are ready for the exam. So what we normally do at Ghana Civil Aviation Training Academy is we have exams prep. What Christian asked me to do this evening is we are walking you through exams prep. So prep will give you guidelines, questions you should expect, questions you should expect, your preparation, your readiness. So we will be tracking your performance and we'll be able to tell you you are ready and you are not ready. So we do it online, we do it in person. If you want to work with us, we are also available. Our next exams prep training is starting next week. So you can join us wherever you are. We do it online. I'm the same facilitator. I administer questions. We meet, we share. I WhatsApp you 50. You send me a mark. I give you answer key. We will meet again and discuss. Please, the best way to go around this exam is solve more questions. The better you solve the questions, the possibility of passing is very high. I don't know whether I have answered your readiness.
All right. Actually, thanks, Eric. That was really clear. I see Amina. Okay, last question for Amina from Amina, because of time. Amina, yeah.
Thank you. First, I'll just start by saying thank you for this session. It was very informative. So this question was asked by someone else, David. His question was, if the answer options are randomly organized, then what will be the difference of reviewing them from top to bottom or bottom to top? So essentially the logic behind it.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you. The logic behind this is not for PMP exams only. It is for all MCQ. It is a research finding that when you read the answer from bottom up, the possibility of getting the answer right is high, in a sense that I know D relate to the question. C doesn't relate to the question. B relate, but A doesn't relate. So in my mind, I have strike out A and C already. I have only B and D to do analysis on. By the time I get to A, I already know the one that relates to the one. But if you do top-down approach, A to D, the possibility that you will not be having a look on C and D is very high. Normally, those who do A to D top-down, they don't give opportunity of looking at C and D. They just read A and B, then they move on. So the logic behind is that you can strike out the wrong answers easily. And please put to test. If you go by what I'm saying, you will realize that, oh, okay, these two are out. Now these two, let me think through. What are we saying in the question? You will be able to pick. 50-50 chances for getting it right is very high if you go by that approach, unlike doing A to D. A to D, normally candidates don't look at D at all because time is ticking and they don't have opportunity to read through the question.
All right.
Please, is your question answered?
Amina, you okay?
Yes, that is okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's session. We want to appreciate Mr. Eric for this amazing session and just even finding time to have this session with us. Eric, if you could please share your contact details on the chat. There's some of the candidates who would like to connect with you directly. So if you're able to share your WhatsApp or your email, the candidates. So, okay, we have that on the screen. In addition, team, for those of you who've not joined our WhatsApp group, I've put the link to the WhatsApp group on the chat option so that you can join there and you'll find other candidates who are actually revising there. Also, Eric, if you can also join on the WhatsApp group and maybe even address some of the questions that the candidates will be having. So thanks again, everyone, for attending. Next session, we're going to have it on Thursday. So that's Thursday, 29th Thursday, we're going to have another session. So we'll be sending out meeting invites. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening. Thanks again to Eric. Bye for now.
Thank you for the opportunity given me. I will join them on the WhatsApp page. I am grateful for the opportunity given. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eric. All right, take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.